Hooked on Fishing with Wes and Dave Peterson is sponsored by Hardee's.
Welcome to Hooked on Fishing. I'm Michelle, and we do thank Jason and his staff at the Hardee's stores in Hibbing and International Falls for sponsoring the show, featuring made-from-scratch biscuits and hand-breaded chicken tenders, and of course, charbroiled Angus burgers. Hardee's is happy to sponsor Hooked on Fishing. Welcome to Hooked on Fishing. It is May 14th. The fishing has opened, and that means Dave and Wes have been busy, and we got them into the studio. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. Welcome back.
It's a good thing we have this hot weather. It'd be real tempting to be out in the lake if it wasn't.
I figured you'd already been out this morning.
Oh, well.
But you looked a little too cleaned up. Actually, it's probably the most cleaned up I've ever seen either one of you. You must have something special going on today.
Yeah, well, I don't have fishing going on today.
Oh.
I've got too many other stuff that I should have gotten done before fishing started.
Okay. So tell us what the fishing is like now,
Well,
or what it's been like since opener.
Saturday it was better than I expected. We had the water still cold. We were fishing in the river.
Is that because the river's not as cold, or?
Generally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the river is generally warmer. Because, the ice just went out, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday or Monday or...
Okay, recently.
The river definitely wasn't warm, though.
And all the water coming out of the lake is into the river is 37, 38 degrees.
Oh.
So it's
So
warmer.
you're saying the river is colder,
Yeah.
not warmer.
Yeah, it's not any colder than the lake, but, well, I should qualify that a little. Of shallow parts of the lake, Black Bay, any shallow bay is going to be warmer right now. But yeah, where the river, we're over the dam, that's pouring in pretty cold water, so it doesn't really get a chance to heat up too much from, say, the Rainier Bridge till the dam. So
Are the gates open?
3 of them are.
Like it's rushing through the dam?
Yeah, and
pretty
that's actually, I've been up to I fished below the dam a lot, and that's kind of unusual for any gates to be open. They usually get enough water through, just with working the hydros, and then there's a spillway on the Canadian side, and yeah, they can usually get enough water through, but right now they've got 3 gates open, so.
Wow.
And I think people get confused about the gates. So you got the Canadian spillway, which is pouring water.
Yes, I've noticed.
And then you got
The hydro,
yeah.
Canadian hydro, and then you have the dam, which has the gates, and then you have the hydro on the U.S. side. So there's 4 places where it comes through. So,
But the gates, the actual gates where they're letting additional water out, there's 3 of them open, and I believe there's 9 of them, right, Wes? 9 or 10 of them.
yeah, I think
And 3 of them still have ice in them.
Oh, wow.
yeah, which is not unusual.
They might not have it there now, but anyway, the N3 they're pouring water out.
Okay.
So, and Wes will explain why that's still happening, that we don't have the gates.
Yeah, I asked somebody who knows a lot more about that than I do, and why do they have the gates open when, the lake right now is, I don't know, 18 inches to 1.5 to 2 feet low, and I'm judging by the dock out in the visitor center, kind of where the water is on that. But so I'm asking, why are they still have the gates open? And the answer I got from somebody who was qualified to talk about it, answer it, was there's more inflow coming in than there is outflow. So there's more water
from the
coming
ice
in.
melting?
Right, there's more water coming in than going out. So
And you said Ely got like 5 inches of rain,
yeah, that was a couple weeks ago now, but
which is pouring this way.
when we got an inch and a quarter, they got 4 to 5 inches. So, and that's that whole area, Vermilion, Ely, that's all in our watershed. So.
All right, so when that's all coming in, and does that make the current stronger? Does that affect the fishing, or what?
Oh yeah,
What does that do?
The river is high right now. Quite a bit of current. but there's still eddies and slackwater areas. They're just sometimes different places than they are normally. So there's places you can't fish on the river, and there's places that are created by the high water that you don't see in the low water that is fishable. So,
and that's where we're catching fish. And let's see, we had walleyes. We had 24.5 at 24, 19 3/4, 2 19.5s. 19.5 is just illegal. So if it's touching 19.5, we had 2 fish touching 19.5. They were right on it, which is an illegal fish, so you have to throw it back. And some of them still had milk coming out of the males, and they had females still had spawn in them. Wow. So
actually, the females I saw, they weren't even
close to.
They weren't even ready to spawn yet.
Oh.
Which is, I mean, that's understandable when the water's 38 degrees. They spawn and gets up to 40, I don't know, 44, 45, 46 is. But yeah, I mean, some of them spawn before that, and this is getting, kind of on the late side for walleyes to spawn. So some of those fish will probably, and there's always a few females of any species that just they absorb the eggs. They never do spawn.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But so I don't know if
And we were using a jig and a minnow, and they were biting light. So they didn't come up there and just whack it. They'd come up there, flare their gills, suck the bait in, and it would just feel heavy. So sometimes you don't know if you have a snag or a fish.
You pick it up, and
you can feel right away when you pick it up.
Pick it up. If there's extra weight that wasn't there before, they're probably got it. So
yeah. And most of the walleyes in there are very nice. You get very few little ones. I mean, there's some in there, but a lot of fish between 16 and 18 inches. So it's very fun.
Yeah. Okay. So when would you expect to be able to get out on the lake?
Oh, we're fishing the lake already.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, you can. It's just the traditional walleye spots are pretty cold right now. So
I have kind of a funny story. So that there's a guy, they always go up to Kettle Falls. And, normally they consider ice out is when you can travel from Shea Shea Resort to Kettle Falls by water. Well, if you can't, there's certain places where you might not be able to get through there because there's ice. Well, it was still iced in as of Saturday. And one guy really wanted to go up there, Scott Hutchinson, and he was on a thread with some other guys, and one guy says, I'll bet you $1,000 that you can't make it up there. He made it up there.
Oh.
Yeah, he broke ice and made it all the way up there.
Wow.
Yeah, if you read the paper this week, it'll actually be in there. It's pretty interesting. So
he's got an icebreaker boat, huh?
Yeah, he's got a big boat, but I'm not sure if I'd want to break ice with it.
Maybe he'll spend the $1,000 fixing the boat. Because in a fiberglass boat, that's kind of tough on the gel.
Yeah. Wow.
But I mean
But he's got bragging rights now.
Yeah.
But he was definitely the first one up there this year. I know that. Because there was some guys fishing in the middle of the Brule, and they told him, because they knew who it was, and they said, you can't make it up there. Well, that gave him more fuel to the fire. So
Challenge accepted.
I think he went through on the Canadian Channel part of it. But
to be fair, I mean, the ice that was there was probably kind of broken up.
He told me he went through some ice that was 4 to 6 inches thick.
Wow.
Oh, my. Oh.
Somebody's brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd have just lost that bet.
$1,000 on the line there.
I said, that kid will never pay up. And I said, another guy said he'll never let him forget it. But the fish, they got up there and the fishing wasn't fast, but they did get their limits out there. And Then they went up the next day too during the wind, and so
Oh, my.
yeah, it was windy,
That
and
can't
that's
be
a
fun.
long trip.
No thanks.
You know,
Yeah.
and,
Do you find a protected spot
yeah,
to try to fish
Well,
in?
when you get up there,
Yeah.
you're
it's all
fine.
protected.
Okay.
So, but it's a jaunt up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, from his dock, it would probably be 40 miles.
Especially with those winds. I didn't
Yeah.
want to be out in those winds, just not on a boat.
No.
No. Well, he has a 23-foot boat. That helps. So, still not.
Wouldn't be enough for me.
Oh, Wes is shaking his head.
But Wes and I probably kind of get a kick out of that. They went all the way up there, and we fished a mile from our houses, and
Yeah.
we did really well. So, but we're starting to catch crappies too. We're starting to fish crappies out there. It's just been so windy that it's hard to fish them in wind.
Yeah.
But
I think sturgeon fishing might close today
yeah, today or
or tomorrow, but that's been really good in
Has
in
it?
places. Yeah,
Okay.
we were down to France Jevny, a week ago, and there a lot of sturgeon surfacing and
being caught.
a lot of fish being caught. So
Yeah, one guy caught a 65-inch
Whoa.
right beside us. He was guiding. Big.
That's
We didn't
taller
know
than
how
me.
big it was. Didn't know how big it was till he texted. Well, I think he hollered, but I thought he said 61, but it was 65 inches.
wow.
You know,
I think one of the derbies. I think the Derby by Baudette. Somebody got a 78, 6.5 feet.
yeah,
Wow.
that
Yeah.
is
Does
a
that fit in the
monster.
boat?
I mean, they're definitely getting bigger. I mean, it's 20, 30 years ago, if you caught one that was 50 inches, that was pretty nice fish, and you can only keep them between. You have to have buy a tag, and you can only keep them between 45 and 50 inches, and it's
Yeah, but they get big, and they've been in that river system a long time. So, and they do catch some out in the. We don't get very many of them on Rainy Lake, but occasionally somebody catches one. But on the Canadian or on the Lake of the Woods, especially during the winter, they get quite a few sturgeon through
Oh,
the
really?
ice. You know, so
I've never hooked one through the ice, and
You'd have
I
to have a big hole for that, wouldn't you?
yeah.
yeah, real big hole.
What happens if you catch one and the hole is not big enough?
You just break it off.
Or you
String or the
you drill
Your
another
line.
or you drill another hole.
oh
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just break it off. And I've never kept one.
no?
No,
Are they edible?
I've heard they're good smoked, but
Well, I've had them smoked. They're outstanding.
bullheads might be good smoked. So
So you've heard.
I mean, I'd want a lot of smoke and a little bullhead, but
Right. Well, thank you guys and have fun this week. We'll check in with you next week. Find this and past episodes of Hooked on Fishing on our YouTube channel at Psalm FM. Hooked on Fishing is sponsored by Hardee's in International Falls and Hibbing.